Welcome to Bajigur Wedang Ronde. I'm Gary Weriawan, and today I want to talk about my new minimalist guitar rig. Before we start, this is just a quick reminder for you to support my channel by liking this video and subscribing to my channel down below. Thank you, let's continue with the video. So, the electric guitar community is oftentimes filled with beliefs that are very traditional oriented. For example,
Tube amp is better, analog is better, digital sucks, true bypass is the only way, pedals are better than multi-effects,
and of course the worst,
iPad is for kids.
And throughout my entire guitar journey, I believe all of that. So this is my snobbish guitar rig featuring a lot of analog pedals, boutique pedals, as well as Mesa Boogie amp. However, over the years, I realized that carrying all these pedals as well as the amp and setting it up for live shows is very tiring. And to be honest, I don't really get any significant improvement of sound quality. So before I continue, I just want to say that I'm not a professional guitar player, I'm not a professional recording musician. I just sometimes play guitar in the church and sometimes in other musical situations, and oftentimes I'm required to be very versatile when I play guitar. When I said versatile, I need to be able to play rock, jazz, metal, pop, blues, and some other different musical genres. And over the years, I began to dive into the world of home recording because I want to be able to record my own composition and make them into full-blown songs. And that's when I am introduced to a software called Bias Amp, which acts like my amp simulation inside my computer. At first, I was pretty skeptical because I believe in all those traditional thinking about guitar rig. However, it was clear that this software is unlike any other. I was getting a very realistic guitar sound when using this software, and even my friends cannot tell when I'm using a real amp or digital effects. I no longer need to buy a new pedal or new amp just to get a new sound. Everything is already inside the Bias Amp software, and I can just add a little bit more effects using my recording software to get some delays or reverbs as I need it. Now that the technology is there, I'm pretty sure that this is actually much better than using the old multi-effect solutions such as the older Potline 6 or things like that. And after using this software for a few years, that's when I started to realize that I want to use this software for my live guitar rig. Last year, I purchased an old iPad Air 2 as well as an iRig Blue board controller as well as some digital interface and some power adapters, and I assembled them together to become what is now my guitar rig. Basically, this rig consists of the iPad, the encasing for cable management, the audio interface, and the controller. Everything here is powered by these adapters. The brain of this rig, however, is these two apps called Bias FX and Bias Amp. I used Bias Amp previously on my computer, so I really know how it works, and I am very familiar with how to use it in the iPad as well. Because I already used the Bias Amp in the computer and I already made some amp patches in the computer, I can export them and save them into the iPad and use it on the iPad so that I have a very identical amp sound inside my iPad rig. I didn't use Bias FX in my computer yet, but I have no trouble using it inside my iPad because I can just select a few pedals that I need, such as distortion, overdrive, delay or reverb, and then just put it on the patches and save them. Also, Bias FX works together very well with Bias Amp so that I can use the saved amp patches inside the Bias Amp that's very customized, and then from there I can just add a few pedals and it becomes my ultimate patch. The whole rig is extremely portable and easy to carry around inside a small bag like this, so it's more practical than compared with my snob rig. So yeah, I've been using this rig for 6 months now. In fact, on my last video, I used this rig live when playing guitar in my church. So now that you hear how it sounds in the live situation, I also want to show you how it sounds in the recording situation. So now let me share some thoughts about this rig after using it for more than 6 months. First of all, it sounds and behaves just like a real rig. There's no perceivable latency, nor is there any difference in feel when playing in low gain setting, in high gain setting, in clean sound setting. And once again, I really value the amount of flexibility that I got from using this rig. I can have a bunch of different sounds and I can just make new sounds without having to buy new pedals or new amp. There's a little bit of negatives though. It requires you to learn about the two softwares, Bias FX and Bias Amp, how to tweak them, how to set them up, how to make patches inside them, and then you also have to learn how to connect the software with the Bluetooth controller and save them into the patches. And also, this Bluetooth controller only comes with 4 patches, so if you play in a song that requires more than 4 sounds, you have to change band, which is a little bit fiddly. And fortunately for me, I never play more than 4 sounds in one song. Now you might ask,
Hey Gary, why don't you just use a minimalist pedal board like this? It uses real pedals as you see, and it must sound better than that digital thing that you just talked about.
so yeah, this is actually my real minimalist pedal board that I used previously before I used the iPad rig. All I can say is that this rig is not as flexible as the iPad, although this is as small and as light and as portable, and it can also easily fit inside a small bag. If you want to add a new sound into this rig, you have to buy a new pedal. However, if you don't need to change your sounds pretty often, then a rig like this will probably make more sense for you, although to be honest, this is expensive. But you might also ask,
Hey Gary, why don't you use a dedicated digital hardware like Axe FX or Line 6 Helix, because popular artists use them, and why don't you just use them instead?
well, you are right. Digital hardware such as Axe FX, Line 6 and other things like that are being used by professional artists, and they sound good too. However, there are 2 problems. They are not as portable as the iPad, and they are expensive. The total cost that I paid for my iPad is about $200 US. The interface iRig Pro Duo is also about $200 US, and the Bluetooth controller is about $100 US, which brings me to a total of about $500 US. Well, it's not that cheap, but at least it's still cheaper than those digital hardware that I just mentioned, and it also sounds as good as those digital hardware that I just mentioned. So yeah, in conclusion, I love this iPad rig so far. I think this is a new forward-thinking guitar rig solution that is going to be the future. It sounds as good, but it is against the traditionalist thinking. I know this is not for everybody, but if you are tired with your old rig, maybe try this rig. Give it a go and see how it goes. So yeah, I hope this video can give you a new perspective about how to use iPad as your live guitar rig. Who knows that it can be a solution for your live rig guitar problem right now. I hope you find this video to be useful. Please don't forget to support my channel by liking this video and subscribe to my channel down below. Thank you and goodbye.